Welcome and thank you for coming. We are really proud of you making it today.
Once again, thank you all for coming.
I'd like just to talk a little bit about La Fraternité. La Fraternité is a charity which started as a community organization around 2007.
Our first aim was to bring the community here together because we were very few and very dispersed.
It was just about really making sure that children, young people who come here to study, and they will find a common ground.
The first thing is human rights. We've managed to, in 2006, 2007, you remember during the political troubles in Guinea, we did manage to bring the community together to kind of, shout for justice for those who were murdered in Guinea. And we raised the profile of the Guinean community here with the help of the community, obviously.
Along the time, we moved on because we understood that in order to help the communities, we needed to have a more grounding here.
After that, we have Ebola struck in Guinea, I think, and we played a key role in bringing the community together also to raise funds and help people back in Guinea.
So we registered La Fraternité as a charity via the Charity Commission, which is the organization regulating all charitable organization in the UK.
We also do what we call children safeguarding.
And our message to everyone here is to find we are at a crossroads. We are no longer just Guineans or British or wherever. We are a multitude. Each of us is a kind of a global citizen in that sense. So we just need to constantly think about ourselves, how our identity, Guinean identity and the British identity come together, but most importantly, our children who are born in this country, and encourage them to learn our culture and our language.
We can educate the community how to really to handle the kids' matters in the households and stuff like that.
2 years ago, in 2015, I was pregnant with my first child. The first question I was asked, are you from West Africa? I said, yes. Where about? Guinea. Okay, do they do FGM? I said, yes. Then they said, okay, the reason we call you, we know that you are pregnant, and we're not sure yet whether you're having a baby boy or girl. If the child happens to be a girl, you go on holiday, for example, in Africa, your mom or your relative take them on your behalf and go and court them. When you come back, you're going to be in prison.
Andi buy wawata anglais on ko dum wadi simida fala yotude ka pular fi fo haray faamu moƴƴa.
Then I spoke to my team. I said, look, I know we have this organization since 2007. Why not raise awareness? No one from our community talked about it, so this is really a big move.
Hano mi ender ko mi yata dum ko mi hebi courage. Dum wallilan wowlugol fi min kadi ko mi wada ko.
In all my life, I never knew there was a type of FGM, and explained to me this is type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. I said, okay. So after that, when I came out, whenever I see my friend, I ask them, tell me what type of FGM you have. The only people that knew what type of FGM they had is the one that had babies in this country.
Tigi ko sabula fraternité wadi mi way wolude fi on problem am.
I can see my people talking about FGM because I know in our country, even with your own mom, you don't talk about it.
Hare non kadi ko mi beyrata dun don gila dun don mi fuddi gollude go la fraternité hare mi do hebude courage yewtude gole immobe arebe luttube ben halana be hare fi tana ko woni ko ngender o sunningol faybe men ben mi do weltani non kambe kadi rebe ben hare buye mabbe supportuno lan der dun do. Yes. Joni haray mi darnay do haray do ko andingo la fraternité min mi do weltanibe immobe amen kadi no weltanibe haray yolla lan wadi barki ko jokkuden ko.
Now to FGM.
And we say thank you to all of you for coming, and especially I'm excited to see the younger ones here because this is more important to them than to us. because we are here to safeguard the children. It's a privilege that men and women can sit together and talk about FGM. In fact, how many of you have ever had an imam talk about FGM in their life back home? Nobody, right? It's never happened. It used to be a women's affair. Men don't talk about it, right? That's the reality. In fact, from Sierra Leone, where I grew up, I know for sure, and how I can confirm this, that when women have these practices, they have their celebrations, men are not allowed in the streets. So this tells you how this practice has been perceived in certain parts of the world. We believe that this practice has been in existence for quite a very long time. It did not come with the advent of religion, neither Christianity nor Islam. So it has been before these religions. But for now, we know that FGM is being practiced in so many countries. In Africa, about 28 countries, and of course, Middle East, Asia, North America, Australia, and Europe. It is not a religious ceremony in Sierra Leone. We know Muslims, and we know Christians, and we know people of no faith who are practicing FGM. So therefore, we can see that this practice is prevalent in many tribes, in many countries, but not exclusive to Muslims. Ask those people who know if you do not have the knowledge. Now, in terms of health or medical position, what have we been told regarding FGM? So we need to listen to the advice of the experts. If they say it is harmful to us, obviously that would be the position of Islam. Likewise, Islam also warns against harming ourselves or hurting ourselves. And if we believe the expert advice that we've been given, that it is harmful to us, then obviously we will also take that practice that we should not be doing anything that will harm us. FGM brings disrepute to Islam, meaning if you hold on to religion saying, I'm doing it because religion requires me to do it, then you are trying to hang on to something which is not correct or right. The absence of knowledge is ignorance, and when we don't know, we do the wrong things. And this is correct for every concept. It's not just for FGM, and so we know the rules in the UK that FGM practice is outlawed, and we also know from an Islamic perspective that Islam forbids harmful activities that will hurt us, and so it makes us stop doing this particular practice. Culturally, we are very clear. Religiously, we are very clear that FGM is not a practice. But now the task that we have at hand is education, is sensitization, it is engagement, okay? Like I said, when we spoke about this before with Abraham and others, there were very few people who were even comfortable to discuss the topic. Comfortable, that's the word. People were not comfortable discussing this. They found it very strange, very difficult to talk about it. Like our sister, she was very brave. Back home, women don't talk about it, let alone men. They don't talk about it. But now we need to educate ourselves and educate our children. Raise the awareness. Maybe you do not have the intention of doing this to your children, because we've had stories where a family goes home for holiday or something. They don't have intention of doing anything to their daughters, but then family members keeps putting on pressure. Or they go to the extreme of actually doing it without seeking the consent of the parents. These issues has happened. So when we are aware, we also educate the children also will be in the know. They will know, they will understand the importance of this, and they will have a viewpoint, and they will have an understanding to prevent this happening in the future.
Now to FGM.
It's good that we create spaces to start talk about these issues that are very much dear to our communities and to our culture. Very often when we have these conversations, men are never part of these conversations. In fact, with the recent training that Forward organized, we had 3 men, and we ended up with only 1 man left. So when it comes to some of these issues, men do not want to be in spaces. So I really applaud to see men talking about these issues, because men are fathers. men are partners, men are brothers, and you seem to see what is really happening within the home. In a lot of cases, it's the men who also provide the funding. So it's really good that we see men to be part of this process of change. Now, when you educate a child to understand the issues about female genital mutilation, she is more likely to also go and speak to it at home. We had an advocate, and she said her daughter, who had had a session, came home and asked her mother, "Do you know about FGM?" And the mother said yes. And she asked that, "How did you get to know about it?" And she said, "I heard about it in school." And she asked her mother and challenged her mother, "Why are you not advocating to end FGM? Bring your relatives and your sisters and let's sit together and talk." That was the beginning of an advocacy to campaign within the home. Another issue about working with young people and training. She had divorced her husband, and her husband chose to take her 2 children back to Guinea. But because she had also been talking so much about her issues and her experience of FGM and to protect her daughter, when her daughter went back home, she heard during the conversations in the family that they were preparing for her FGM. So what she did very early in the morning, and this girl is an American citizen, very early in the morning, she called her brother, she walked to the American embassy, and she told them that she needed to be protected from FGM because her family was taking her. And that is how this girl was brought back to her mother in New York to stop her from going through FGM. We need to create opportunities for children to grow and develop. And how do we protect them? The best way we can protect them is in the home. We need to educate ourselves. We need to work together, and we need to strengthen the fact that FGM can be stopped within our homes. And the issue about FGM, unlike other forms of abuse, once it's stopped in the home, it can be stopped forever. And this is where we need to be champions in our home. And when we go back home, we also need to be champions to make a difference. We need to consider that there are issues around taking your children back home, and to make sure that when they go back home, how would you protect them, particularly if they go home without you. We come from a culture where we never say no to our parents, we never say no to our elders. How can we bridge that culture? How can we ensure that we are able to protect, but also to use the laws that are in the UK to protect our children?
No to FGM.
I want to focus people's minds on the fact that no matter what we all do, individually or together, our focus is on little girls and women and their rights. It's very difficult sometimes to have the conversation with our families around FGM. It's not an easy conversation to have, but I will urge anybody who has any issue relating to their FGM to arm yourself with the information and go and talk to your GP about how you're feeling and what you're feeling.
When the women are subjugated or put under this knife, it's not because they are weak. And in our families, we know that men play a bigger role.
And eradicate this horrible practice. FGM can be hard for a woman to give birth to a child. FGM can not only cause pain but trauma, and that's why we need to stop it. FGM can cause infection.
FGM stands for Female Genital Mutilation, which is when a woman's genital area is cut. This is not right for us to go through, so please let us all show what we are made of.
No to FGM.
There are 200 million women and girls alive today who have experienced or lived with the consequences of female genital mutilation. 1.9 million girls, men and boys who have experienced domestic violence and abuse in England and Wales in the last year. There are 400 people have lost their lives to domestic violence and abuse in England and Wales in the last 3 years. You know, the stark reality of it is that women's rights are human rights. The fact of the matter is that women and girls disproportionately experience domestic violence, domestic abuse, sexual violence and abuse, and obviously female genital mutilation. That means that men are a really important part of the conversation. That means that men and young men are really important parts of developing, working with women, working across the community about developing solutions, about ending, preventing, ending and eradicating violence and abuse. Men across all the different diverse communities have got to act as clear role models. But they've got to talk about it, they've got to say it, but they've got to demonstrate it by their actions and by their behaviours. And they have got to call out other men who act inappropriately. 695,000 men and boys were the victims of domestic violence and abuse in their own households in the last 12 months in England. Number of men who are participating in the events. That sets you apart, that sets La Fraternité apart from the vast number of other charity organisations that are in this sector doing the work.
Now to FGM.
My last message will be, ladies, we need to come on board.
We need you on board to come and to be at the forefront of change.
All I can say is thank you on behalf of La Fraternité.
You know, it doesn't cost us anything to spend 10 minutes, maybe a month.
We cannot do it alone.
And now going forward, what we want is more engagement from the community.
Now to FGM.
The community has grown exponentially, which is very good.
By calling out to others, I think it creates a program for all of us to work together.
Now to FGM.
We need to try to integrate in this country.
So when we talk and share ideas, we will find a solution.
No to FGM, please.